This slide actually demonstrates how effective vaccines can be. Um, so these are the number of cases of a disease pre-vaccine versus post-vaccine and the percentage of reduction of that particular disease. Well, if you look over to the right, they go anywhere from 87% reduction up to 100% reduction for several of these diseases. That's pretty amazing. And yet we have these people that go on Oprah Winfrey and say that vaccines cause all of these conditions. You may have one in 3 million cases where there is a bad reaction. And it varies depending on the vaccines. But there's no linkage between vaccines and autism. There's very little linkage between any of the vaccines and brain damage, um, muscular dystrophy, uh, fibromyalgia, any of the conditions that are blamed on popular media. So please go to places like the CDC or to your immunology book to get the real data on what's happening. Now, of course, this was cases in 2004. Um, the number of cases varies a little bit as you extend those years out. And we are seeing a little bit of a bump in certain diseases like measles and mumps that are coming in the United States. But just to take one of the ones that has some of the largest measles, 503,000 cases down to 37. That's pretty amazing. And a lot of these diseases have other side effects. Once you get inoculated against measles, you have a dramatic reduction in other cases of other diseases simply because it is lowering your risk for those other diseases by lowering your chances of getting measles. This is a great table to kind of pull from to quote when you're trying to argue with people on the internet who've gotten their information from talk show hosts. Um, in immunology, we're going to be talking about how the immune system fights different disease. So this is biological warfare, is all it is. So you have major groups of human pathogens, including viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites. And they range in size from very small viruses that have very little genetic material to design an attack against. They're also intracellular. They are almost always inside the cell, which makes it a little harder for the immune system to recognize and take it out. Then you have bacteria that can be intracellular or extracellular. They're usually small enough by themselves to be eaten by a phagocyte. But then you can have some that group together in biofilms, and it makes it harder for phagocytosis to occur. Um, the immune system has to be able to tell the difference between self and non-self. It needs to be able to tell if it's a virus, a bacteria, a fungi, or a parasite, and then design ways of attacking those. So as we go through this term, you'll quickly start seeing how each of these may have a slightly different way of being attacked. I'll go ahead and cover this slide very quickly. Immune system evolved to protect multicellular organisms from pathogens. So you have to be able to recognize that it is a problem. So that means I need to know what is supposed to be there, self recognition, versus recognition of something from outside. And then I need to design some way of responding that can be fairly universal because I don't want to have to design a different technique for attacking every single strain of bacteria that's out there. So the immune system is broken down basically into two areas: recognition and